Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to cover about the concepts of ownership and possession. Before we begin, let me just talk a little bit about the concept itself. Ownership is developed with people's civilization. As people come to know more about themselves, people come to know more about the world that they are living, so they started to understand and appreciate the concept of ownership. When people started to inhabit the world and they do not understand what is ownership yet, they move from one place to another, which is proven to become not satisfying at all. Because when they start to move from a place to another, people do not have a sense of belonging to that particular location, to that particular items being attached to that location. So the idea of ownership began as people started to plant trees, cultivate the lands that they are staying in, as well as they built homes for themselves as well as their family. To understand further the concept of ownership, let's take a look at the definition by Holland, Austin, and Duguid. Holland says ownership is actually a plenary control over an object. Okay, ownership comes first before possession, because ownership means you are actually the owner of that item or a property, and you possess it because it's yours. Okay? And according to Holland, an owner has three rights on the object that they own. First one is possession, because the object belongs to them, so they can possess it. And also they can enjoy using it, the right to use, as well as they have the right to dispose of the item. Okay? And according to Holland, ownership is a right of indefinite in point of user, meaning you can use it forever, unrestricted in point of disposition, meaning you can dispose it, and unlimited in time of duration over a determinate thing. Okay? You own something because you can use it, you can dispose it, and you can actually have a duration for the ownership itself. Similarly, according to Duguid, ownership is a relation between a person and a thing. Okay, it's interesting to look at how Duguid puts it, because when you have an item owned by you, he regards it as that relationship that you are owning that item. So that relationship, we call it as ownership. On account of this relation, the person has the power of disposal, the use and employment of the thing according to the Regel Detroit. Okay, this is actually a term to mean the right to own something, right to ownership, right to belong to something. Now, the significance of ownership. Okay, once you own something, so you are. What is it that comes together with ownership? Okay, significance number one is it is an index of wealth and social position. Okay, the more land you own, the higher is your wealth and your social status in the society. Okay, in other words, if you own a lot of property, a lot of land, you will be considered as wealthy, and you get a better or people will see you as having a higher social standing in the community. In the past, this concept is also known as control over the government's policy. Okay, because the voting rights, the idea that your voice is heard by the government, is actually determined by how huge your property ownership is. Another significance of ownership is not only property comes with the means, rights as well as wealth, it also carries duties, liabilities, and disabilities. What does it mean here? It comes with the duties to observe. Okay, for example, you have to do in relation to your property, liabilities relating to the property, for example, payment of taxation and zakat, and sometimes restricted in terms of usage of the property. You're disabled, you're unable to do something in relation to your property, for example, the restrictions in interest in land titles. Okay, you're not allowed to do certain thing, or you can only use this land for the purpose of plantation or for the purpose of building coming up with a construction, okay, for example. Two, significance of ownership. Now let's take a look at the modes of acquisition. Okay, how do you actually acquire a property? You can either be doing it original acquisition or derivative acquisition. The difference between the two: original means you get it from your personal act of the acquirer, or derivative means you assume that right from another person. Okay, now original acquisition can be by way of three ways. Number one is absolute acquisition, okay, where the property has no previous owner. Okay, a land which is alienated to an owner, okay, it has no previous owner. So absolute ownership means if you're getting something from not a previous owner, okay, or okay, in other words, anyone that goes hunting for rabbits or for deer, okay, if you get that, you manage to get that rabbit, okay, means it's yours. Get that deer means it's yours. You're the owner. Okay. Now the second way of original acquisition is the previous owner is extinguished and goes to a new owner. Okay. Normally this comes in the form of a court ruling, okay, whereby that property has an owner before, but due to the rights which have been eliminated or extinguished, then you assume or you get the right from that court order, in order to become the new owner. Or the third one is, we call it as accessio or accessory, meaning you get the benefit of that property or ownership of that property. It originates from an existing ownership. Okay, for example, you have a cow or you have a chicken. Your cow gives milk, okay, so that you are the owner of that milk because it comes from your cow. Or a chicken lays eggs. That eggs belongs to you because that eggs comes from your chickens. It's an accessory to the original item. Okay, the second type of acquisition is derivative acquisition. This is rightly so when a property is owned from a previous owner. Okay, it can be by way of a purchase or a gift or a succession. Okay, it has an owner, an existing owner, and you do something. For example, you enter into a sale and purchase agreement, or you get a gift from the owner, or it comes to you by way of succession. Then we call it as a derivative acquisition. Okay, that's it what I want to share with you on the ownership and possession. Thank you very much.